Now, skills being assessed for CSEC. Performing labs is a way of bringing to life all that you have learned via listening to a lecture, reading your text, or watching a video. Each lab you perform will be marked based on a particular skill. They have 3 skills that CSEC is looking for. You have measurement, manipulation, observation, recording, reporting, analysis and interpretation, planning and designing. The breakdown of each skill is as follows. For M&M, which is measurement and manipulation, you're marking for the ability to execute the lab well. And each of these skills is going to be marked out of 10. Not necessarily you're going to find 10 marks, but you're going to have to make it out of 10. In ORR, your ability to graph, write a sequential and proper report in tense, language, and expression included, as well as make appropriate observations are assessed. That's 10 marks right there. In analysis and interpretation, any calculations performed, well-detailed discussion containing logical inferences from data, and explanation of graphical relationships are assessed. So basically, analysis and interpretation, that's where your ability to perform good, clean calculations will be corrected. And that's all the 10 marks again. And for planning and designing, an appropriate hypothesis, suitable method or procedure, correct tense, appropriately stated variables, and stating possible sources of error or danger are assessed. And that again is 10 points. So everything is marked out of 10. So even if your teacher have 20 points, do note it's going to be scaled back down to 10. If they have 8 points, 6 points, it will scale up to 10. But it's better if your teacher have something based out of a higher amount of points, select 20. Don't go beyond 20. That's what teachers shouldn't do. As a matter of fact, when you're doing these labs, you're supposed to be given the marks, the breakdown, so that when you're writing up your lab, you have a rubric that you can follow. Rubric, R-U-B-R-I-C. A rubric is a breakdown of the mark scheme. So if they're giving marks for observation, you would have the idea that, okay, let me focus on the observation. To give you marks from a graph, let me focus on that the most, because you want the most out of your labs, because this is what's going to help you get really high grades in CSEC, or at least you're going in the exam room with a good amount of points. So insist, you don't have to be rude to your teacher, but ask them. And if your teacher is the type that doesn't like to give out the mark scheme or whatnot, I understand you have rights and stuff like that, but do remember there are better ways to get what you want. You can't fight fire with fire. So if you're having a problem getting the mark scheme from your teacher, you can ask your mother or your father or a parent or guardian, somebody, to insist that these things are given, because they're supposed to give you. And it shouldn't be a fight. Okay? It shouldn't be a fight. And also remember, there are some teachers who are new to this, and they wouldn't know that they're supposed to give you these things. So maybe telling them they need to be informed. You might not have to tell them, you might have to go to somebody higher up to ask or inquire why you're not being given your mark scheme. Usually the principal will be able to assist you with that. Okay? So that's that for that. Now, using a skill to correct a lab. Do you remember this lab? Of course you remember this lab. This lab was what we did a while ago. Because it didn't include any graphs, any calculations of any sort, and it wasn't a lab that I made up, the most likely thing would be to mark it based on M&M. So an M&M could be used to correct it since it contains no graphs or calculations. The breakdown of an M&M in the physics syllabus is as follows. 1. Follows instructions. 2. Uses basic lab equipment. 3. Sets up electrical circuit properly. 4. Uses electrical circuits correctly. And 5. Prepares material for observation or investigation correctly. The breakdown of an M&M in the physics syllabus is as follows. As as shown, or as was shown on the page before. So I'm just using this as a guide. So within the breakdown of on the left, so within this breakdown here, only 1 and 5 would apply to the density lab because of the way it was executed. So because of the nature of the lab, I cannot use 2 because I didn't use any basic lab equipment. I can't use 3 because we didn't deal with electricity, nor 4. Same thing, 3 and 4 basically the same thing. But what applies here are 1 and 5. So I can use that. So for me, as a teacher, I would take number 1, and the total amount of marks you can get from 1 is 5. So I would say, for follows instructions, you will get a point if you followed each step. So the highest you can get for this is 5. There are 5 steps, so you can get a point if you followed each step. Let's take a look back. So if you look here, I have 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you followed all 5 steps, you will get all 5 points. Then it says here, prepares material for observation or investigation correctly. Now, this step is quite redundant because if you follow the instructions, it means that you would have been preparing the materials for observation or investigation correctly. So if you got all 5 points for the instructions, then you should be able to get all points for the setup. And so I put 3. I said I broke it down based on this. A, observations given should reflect if materials were set up correctly. So you will get marks if you wrote your observations correctly, because then your observations would state whether you did this part. If you did this part correctly, if you did this part correctly, you should get the same observations I got. So unless if you went to a bay or beach which had much saltier water than what I did. So again, if you got all 3 observations stated, you got all 3 marks. If you only had 2 observations stated, only 2. 1 observation stated, only 1. And it came to a total of 8 marks. So therefore, if you get 8 out of 8, that means automatically you get 10 out of 10. But what happens if you get 4 out of 8? 4 out of 8, if you want to find out how much that is over 10, you will multiply the numerator by 10. So you will get 40 over 8, and 8 into 40 will give you 5. We already knew that 4 out of 8 is half. The half of 10 is 5 over 10. If you got 2 out of 8, if you didn't do this properly, and you got 2 out of 8, then you would multiply the numerator again by 10. So you get 20 over 8. And 20 over 8 is how much, kiddos? Yes. I'm calculating it as we speak, because my brain is not there. So 20 divided by 8 will give you 2.5. So because you get 2.5 over 10, it will bump up to about 3 over 10, because CSEC doesn't do half marks. Okay? So here's the criteria for the assessment of each skill as per the syllabus. So along the way, I'm going to be doing a lot more labs, and of course I'm going to show you how I use skills to mark certain labs. And you do know that a lab could have 2 skills marked on it, but that again is just confusing at this point, so we're going to keep it simple. For observation, reporting, and recording, which is ORR, you have 5 parts to it. You get marks for observations, and that again you could break it down however you want as a teacher. You could break it down into 3 parts based on how many observations you're looking for, and you just tell the kids straight up, look, I'm looking for 2 observations, so make sure you have things. So sometimes you don't have to break it down, but if you want it for your sanity's sake and for also the moderator's sake, you will break it down so you don't have to explain yourself. But whatever points you have here must correspond to the observation. So if only 1 observation coming from a lab, you can't put 5 points. That wouldn't make any sense. 5 points for what? Just put 1 point. So select an appropriate observation or observations. Put your points according to how many observations you're looking for. Makes accurate recordings or observations. Well, this 1 and 2 are almost the same. Accurate, appropriate. Appropriate means what? It makes sense. Accurate means really correct recording. So I guess you get a mark for producing an observation, and then you will get marks again if the observations are accurate. So I guess in that sense you would really, it's technical. You say, okay, this is appropriate, it's okay, but was it correct? Maybe not. Because remember we did that video on being precise but not accurate. So you could be precise with your observations but not accurate. So that's what that means. Then you have uses appropriate format of presentation. So your lab report must look something like what I presented earlier. Uses acceptable language or expression. So you must know how to spell, you must know your subject verb agreement, and you must know how to express yourself. You can't say the thing, the thing. You must be able to express what you're trying to bring across to your teacher. And they get marks for using appropriate tables, diagrams, and graphs. And again, I'll show this in a whole different video, how I will break up mine, because when you break it up, it's so much easier to mark. You get through it easily and you feel happy. You're just like, oh, that was so good. And you once you make a standard, because all of these are the same, all of these are the same, they're looking for the same thing. So just make a standard and you just base it, you print it off and you stick it in the book and you mark from that standard. For analysis and interpretation, again, this one is the one where children get much lower marks than usual, because of course calculation is not a lot of their strong points. Some of them don't understand how to write in proper data. As a matter of fact, by fourth form they are so burnt out that you're gonna have to hold all 10 fingers and the fingertips and the toes, and you're gonna have to pull them through because they're tired by this point, especially in fourth form when they're gonna be doing a lot of analysis and interpretation. There's only about 3 of them they have to do, but remember, for you as a teacher, it's easy, and for some students, the older students who are out of school, it's gonna be easy for you as well. Predicts from data, so this is like you're explaining what you think gonna happen with it from the data. And evaluates, so that means you're gonna be describing why you obtain such data, and then identifies relationship and patterns within data. So all from 3 to 4 is most likely gonna be based, the marks gonna be based on your discussion. Yeah, the marks based on your discussion at this point. Okay. And planning and designing, this is also a special one. So it suggests appropriate hypotheses. So usually is one hypothesis I look for. Suggests suitable and feasible methods for data collection. Correct. So this is where you're going to have to create a table of possible results. So again, planning and design is a lab that you would have made up by yourself. And this is with the aid of the teacher showing you how to do the first one. And of course, I'm going to do a video and explain what most teachers are looking for. Okay? Some children will get lost at this point and just decide, I can't go any further. But it's not that hard. Once you have a good explanation going on, and you could go back to it all the time, because what I find is that even though you explain in class, the explanation stays in the class. And children go home and try to figure it out. You would have forgotten the explanation. So this is where I'm making the videos, so you could always go back and not have to harass the teacher and stuff like that. Identifies and controls variables appropriately. So basically you have to produce variables that make sense. And again, remember the 3, the responding, the controlled, and the manipulated. So you have to identify those. And note well, by this point of planning and designing, you're gonna have some idea on what your variables are like. And of course, you could go to your teacher. If your teacher don't want to help you, there are other people out there who can help you. You don't have to just go to your teacher. You could go to the bio teacher, you could go to the chem teacher. If the bio and the chem teacher is the same teacher as physics, it's the same teacher teaching all those sciences, guess what? There are other people in the world you can ask for help from. There's no reason for you to sit on a three-legged stool and stay falling. Okay? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. You would always find another stool to sit on. So you could always ask a question. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Snapchat, you have all manners of things you could ask a question on, and you could figure it out. Okay? So don't limit yourself. And now the last point. So plotting and drawing of graphs will be assessed in ORR, like what I said earlier, whereas inferences from graphs will be assessed under ANI. So this is pretty much it for the criteria of each assessment. And again, I would do another video with what we're looking for with maybe observation and reporting as the ORR, and I'm going to show you how to do planning and designing. So look out for those videos, and that's basically a wrap. Thanks for listening.